You need now to look at, say it's not a new building, it's an existing building that needs Wi-Fi. You need to go over there and you need to get floor plans. You need to get an idea of which areas need Wi-Fi coverage. Are these areas indoors or outdoors or both? What kind of rooms you have? Are they warehouses, offices, cubicles, and what the walls are made of? Is it drywall, brick, concrete, lead? This is very important in terms of successfully designing the Wi-Fi system, and we're going to see why later. And so you need to also know where each MDF and IDF is, and they could be anywhere. Don't think of an MDF like a Google data center. It could be under somebody's desk. It just small building. It might just be a switch and a router in the corner. It might be on top of the fridge in the lunchroom. You never know. And you also need to know where you can install APs and where you can't install APs and IDFs. They may say, hey, this closet is for our janitorial supplies, or you can't install an AP here on this custom mahogany wall or whatever. And they might have certain aesthetics. They don't want to see the APs or whatever. You also want to see if there's existing wiring that's actually working, and I have to emphasize that the wiring is actually working. Wiring that already exists, it could save you a lot of money, it could save your client a lot of money, so that you don't have to run new wire. Same with conduit or raceways or J-hooks, especially in situations where it's impossible to run new wire without getting a sawzall and cutting through the roof. And you want to figure out where you have ceilings and what kind of ceilings you have. So are they open air, dropped ceilings, ceiling tiles, is it drywall? Are there access panels in this drywall ceiling so you can get upstairs in the attic or whatever? And you want to see if there are working power outlets anywhere, especially where you're going to install network equipment or even access points or antennas or repeaters, which we'll talk about later. And again, I emphasize they need to be working. There are always power outlets that aren't working. They'll be totally useless to you. And you need to look at the hazards. Is there asbestos, confined spaces? Are there rats and mice and things? That's going to complicate the project, complying with the safety, occupational health, everything like that. Well, messed up projects, not messed up in terms of the way it was done, but in Red Deer, for example, they had a hospital that had a Wi-Fi upgrade, and they had a decontamination procedure, and could only take one ceiling tile out at a time to go look in the ceiling, and you had to vacuum that ceiling tile before you took it out, and then you had to take it out and keep vacuuming. They didn't want the dust to contaminate the air in the hospital for health reasons for their patients. So you need to think about also if the client wants to have Wi-Fi in a stairwell, in an elevator, in a parking garage. These things are built out of solid concrete, and your Wi-Fi doesn't really get into those areas, so you have to put additional APs, which means additional wiring. Typically, you would put APs at each elevator door or each stairwell door or inside the elevator shaft, and it's very expensive, and you need to think about if the client really needs that and if they want to spend the money. And then you need to talk to people. So you need to look at each room in the building and figure out how many people or how many devices are in each room, that are going to be on the Wi-Fi, because that affects the number of access points that you're going to install more than the size of the room. And you need to ask yourself if those people move around with their devices. Is this guy on his phone or laptop and he's going from office to conference room and he needs to move around and stay connected to the internet? And also how much data each device uses, because you could be on your phone or you could be on your computer and not doing anything, just connected, or you could be video conferencing or streaming videos or whatever you're doing and using a lot of data, and that also affects the technology that we need to install. And if there's existing Wi-Fi, we need to figure out, why it sucks, basically. Maybe it's a good network, but it doesn't cover the whole building. There are areas they renovated or whatever, and they need more coverage. For example, we have a client that has an office space and a warehouse, and they now decided that the warehouse needs Wi-Fi too. Or maybe their Wi-Fi is only 2.4 gigahertz and they've got a lot of 5 gigahertz devices, and they want to take advantage of being able to use them to their full capacity. Or their Wi-Fi is not secure, or they have good coverage, but now they added smartphones and tablets, and now there are too many devices, they're too dense, and then they're all competing to get a signal with the same access point, and now it's overloaded. Or even the structure underneath, now you've got cheap switches that don't have the capacity to handle all the traffic. And you need to ask yourself what I said earlier. Are you replacing the Wi-Fi, or are you just adding to it, and maybe it's not dense enough?